speaking of golf, is it the Zurich Classic or the team event we picked
Yeah, yeah,
Wednesday?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, I've cleaned out my hotel room here. I do remember my three teams. I know one of your teams. I can't remember the other two, but
Yeah. You got. I'm looking at it. You've got a team that's 8 under, as do I. The
I have a
leading
team that's
team.
10 under. I have a team that's 10 under.
Oh, you have a team that's 10 under.
I have
Okay.
Sunjay M and Kashmir Keith Mitchell.
Oh, you do. Yes, you do. They're tied for third at 10 under, and then the other teams that you and I have that are at the top there is. Well, I mean, I've got at eight
I
under.
have
We've
Sam
got
Burns and Billy Horschel. Then I have my
yeah,
Tom Kim and Sunjay M.
yeah, and I got Harris English and Ton Hogue, and then my other guys Morikawa and Homa are 6 under. So the leader is at 11 under, so it's pretty wide open after the first day. So we'll see how it goes today, up in beautiful New Orleans. But the men's golf team really, I was glad to see it because I was starting to worry there. They're too good not to be competing for the SEC championship. They should be
Yeah.
competing for that, and so here they
Back
are.
back to some Facebook Lives brought to you by Mellon Law. Tony
Okay.
says Sproat was incredible last night. Greg
Yeah.
says the bullpen will be the demise of this Gator
Yeah,
baseball team.
I hope not, but it's hard to argue after what happened last night. That was bad. That was really bad. I mean, 3-3 game in the seventh or in the bottom of the sixth, and things just fell apart. So we'll see. Waldrop's good. Cags is good. Maybe they can get past the sixth inning tonight and pull it out.
Yeah. Yeah, we shall see. Chris
Yeah.
Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840.
Oh,
A week from tonight, JC,
yeah.
a week from last night is the first round of the NFL draft.
Oh, yeah.
And before the show, what were you letting me know about some Gator players heard in the draft?
Well, Richardson is the hottest name of the former Gators that's going to be drafted, obviously. And I think Seth Harp on Sports, which comes on after us, he thinks that I think Anthony's going to get picked high to Seattle as the fifth pick. He's got him a little lower than that to some other teams, but I think it depends on where the needs are. And so Bryce Young is thought to be the top pick, but I still stand by my statement that CJ Stroud is the most attractive quarterback right now. If you throw everything in there, I think his size, his passing, his accuracy is as good as anyone's. But Bryce Young has that ability. His size.
Bryce Young will be the first pick.
Yeah, he will be the first pick. And so Houston, no. Yeah, does Houston have it? I think Houston
No,
has it.
it's the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. You're right. It's the Carolina Panthers. They did some trades. Okay, got it. So I think Carolina would be a good destination for Bryce Young, southern, warmer climate type of thing. We'll see who he's got to throw it to, though. That's the big issue. But
yeah, you hear a lot of stuff from pro people where I've been last. I think Anthony will be the fourth or fifth quarterback taken from what I'm
fourth
hearing.
or fifth, yeah. One of the coaches for the Detroit Lions was not overwhelmed by Anthony Richardson whatsoever. And I'm not sure where Detroit picks, not that anybody really cares, but not everybody's in love with Anthony Richardson. I mean, a lot of people are based on his physical abilities, but it's so much more than just being a physical guy. I mean, Justin Fields is a very physical quarterback, but if Justin Fields can't run the ball, and that's not going to lead to a long lifespan in the NFL, what does Justin Fields threaten you with? It's not passing. And the Bears, I don't know who they've got to throw it to begin with. So that's one thing. You've got Jalen Hurts, who's got the biggest contract in NFL history. He's got guys to throw to, Brown, and Zach Ertz, and a great offensive line. I mean, the Eagles may have the best offensive line in football. Miles Sanders and guys in the backfield, just a good offense surrounding him. The Bears don't have that for Fields. And for a quarterback like Anthony Richardson to be successful, he better have some guys around him. That's the way I see it. Because you can't do it by yourself in that league. And I don't care how big and fast you are. The linebackers in the NFL are just as big and fast, right? So I'm not sure what lays ahead for him, but I think it would be good for him to learn under a guy like Geno Smith or somebody like that in Seattle, where I think he's going to get picked. Maybe I'm wrong. He may be the fourth guy picked, and it could be much later in the draft than we think.
Tony asked a question here. Shane, what did you think about that letter that AR's PR team put out last week?
What was the letter?
I didn't see it, Tony. I apologize. I don't know what kind of letter. Maybe was he thanking the Gator Nation? I don't know. I didn't see it at all. I'm not going to read that one. Chris from Cottondale.
Oh, Chris.
Cottondale on the Titan MR text line says, "Glad this is your last half day. Appreciate you making it happen for your listeners during your season. Question: have you been able to go back and watch the spring game? If so, what are your thoughts on that?" I have not, Chris. I have no access of a DVR or I don't even know how I would watch it in a hotel room. So I'll check. I'll look at it when I get back in the next couple of weeks and then give y'all my assessment on it. As I stated yesterday, or I think it was with Brent, maybe it was with you, JC. I talked to a couple of people that, in the media, former players that have access of watching the all 22 tapes of all the spring games, and they said it was not nearly as bad watching the tape as people thought when you watch it live. So take that for what it's worth.
Well,
so,
just keep it in the context of what it is. Okay, that's what I think people forget. They just don't do. Lane Kiffin can text or tweet rather. A funny tweet with a 7-7 game in the fourth quarter and have little fire emojis, but nobody, he's just being Lane there. But
so this tells you how I know how anything works when it comes to technology. I've had multiple people on Facebook Live say all I have to do is go to YouTube to watch the replay of the spring game. I did not realize that. Everybody's giving. So
make me pull a muscle in my back for laughing, dude.
Maybe I'll watch the spring game. Well, I can't do that. I got to watch tape on the plane.
YouTube will work.
And Tony sent me the letter. I'll have to read this letter and I'll chime in on Monday about Anthony's letter to the NFL. So, I'm getting a million things on Facebook Live now about this. All right, so, I got another text here.
YouTube. Wow.
Chris says, "Notice I didn't ask JC's opinion on the spring game." JC didn't go either there, Chris. He didn't go either.
Damn right. If you let me put it to you like this. If you find me at a Florida spring game, call a doctor, okay? Call a damn doctor because something's wrong with me. I mean, God.
Okay.
In my life right now. Go ahead.
So I saw yesterday on Twitter, speaking of the Detroit Lions, their general manager, let me find his name. I have all kinds of stuff on my phone here I'm trying to get to. His name, well, crap, I don't have it. Anyway, he was doing a press conference, obviously, with the draft approaching, and he had a T-shirt on, had the Lions logo, and it says, "I support women and girls in sports." And as we all know, that this transgender stuff, the young lady from Kentucky got attacked out in California, I believe. The
Riley
swimmer.
Gaines.
And it's just it bothers me, but it really bothers me now. I just think it's the most ridiculous thing that we have going on in the world of sports.
Yeah.
It just makes absolutely no sense.
It's fantasy land. They're playing.
We had James Bates on, I guess it was maybe a year ago, with him having his girls that swim at Florida. And they had that man that's acting as a girl swim in the NCAA meets, going into the locker room and things of that nature. It's just the most ridiculous thing that I can think of that's going on in sports, and something needs to be done, and they need to get rid of it.
Well, so there's a bill that's on Joe Biden's desk, okay, that would ban this kind of baloney.
Nonsense, as I like to call it.
Nonsense. And guess what that clown's going to do? He's going to veto that bill because he says it discriminates. Okay, if I had a daughter, I would feel probably even more passionate about this. But I feel for those who do have daughters in sports. And my solution to this problem is when a man is in a visible women's sport, playing in a basketball game, let's say, or a sport that women are playing in that is being viewed in mass numbers, and it becomes a circus act. And the only way this stops is when real women decide to stop it. And there's many ways they can do that, one of which is not as very popular, but would work, and that's just boycotting the games. Just don't play. And that doesn't make anybody happy, but you've got to
Well, that
Your flag
punishes
in the
the people
ground
that are
somewhere.
actually females.
Right.
If you
That
cancel the
does.
sporting event.
Yes, it does. But the women who are actual females are the ones who are getting hurt in this, and the ones who are being affected in the most part, right? So the men who are trying to pretend to be females are ruining it for the real females. Isn't that logical? So
Yeah,
if
it's
that's the case, do you want your daughter in the locker room with a man or in a bathroom? We can go any which way you want to with this, but be honest with yourself when you ask that question.
well, it's totally ridiculous, and I'm actually getting me one of these shirts. I'm gonna actually make one of these shirts, but I'm not gonna have the. I don't want the line. I don't want the Detroit Lions logo on it.
I don't care. Get me one too, please. Thank you.
Yeah, it irritates the. It drives me insane.
Yeah. Well,
not a whole lot of stuff bothers me, but that bothers me big
there is a
time.
bill going to the president's desk that he's going to veto. Okay, and it's going to affect Title IX. You know, we've all talked about Title IX for how many years now? How many decades?
It's been I want to say they celebrated it not too long ago. Was it 50 years or maybe
Right.
longer?
Well, it's going to affect it, and it's if you think we're discriminating because a man wants to pretend to be a woman, I think you've got your priorities wrong.
We got another text here on the Titan Mar text line. An anonymous texter says apparently Dion charged for entry to Colorado spring game and has sold it out already for the first time ever. Well, good for them. I don't think they're going to be very good. I've had people tell me they're not going to be very good.
Just look at their schedule to start the season. They're 0-5. Okay, they're maybe 1-4. Maybe. Look at that schedule. I won't waste our time on it, but if you find time today to look at Colorado's first 5 games, that's an 0-5 start or a 1-4 start. Okay, including at Oregon, at Southern Cal. They're not winning those. I don't care who Dion could suit up and they wouldn't win.
Yeah. One of your fellow Bobcats, one of the greatest Bobcats of all time, says the QB whisperer will be giving out Orlando Guardians gear at the Oaks Malls.
Oh God.
Daniel says he totally supports our stance on this. I don't know any logical human being that doesn't support
or rational.
my stance on this.
How about rational human being? You
Yeah.
can throw logic in there, sure, but how about being rational about it, having some common sense, and being respectable? Respect the women. I mean, we're supposed to care about women, equality, this, that, and you're going to go let a bunch of dudes go in there and screw their sports up? Why? Why would you let that happen? That's what Joe Biden wants to do. That jerk.
Yeah. So I had to get that off my chest.
So,
I got that off my chest. Feel better now.
I feel better too.
In the NBA playoffs, if you're following that, the 76ers take a 3-0 lead over the Nets. The Warriors finally win a game against the Kings. It's 2-1 Kings. And then the Suns take a 2-1 series over the Clippers.
Big win
tonight, the Hawks go back home. They're down 2-0 to the Celtics. The Knicks and the Cavs are tied 1-1.
Yeah.
And then the Nuggets and the Timberwolves, 2-0 Nuggets.
And in hockey, the Lightning got hammered.
Blasted.
They are missing 2 defensemen who are hurt.
Did they have those 2 defensemen in game 1?
Eric Chernak did not play last night.
Okay, well, they won that game, JC. So we can't use
in game 1. No. Victor Hedman was out in the 6th minute of game 1, so he didn't play, and they still won. Sure. Look, it does affect you though. If you're not good on the blue line, if you're not good on the back end either, you just can't. It's hard to beat. Toronto's a very good team, but they're also overrated in my opinion. So we'll see if Tampa can win on home ice. But big wins last night for Vegas and Colorado to get even on their series 1-1, and the Dallas Stars the other night won to get their season even to 1-1. And the Rangers last night are just teaching the Devils what it's all about. Devils a very young team. New York's got a lot of experience. The Rangers could win this in 4. Or maybe 5.
So, is there any concern that we all know you've been on the Boston Bruins bandwagon?
Yeah, there is.
Their series is 1-1. Are you concerned?
So when it's 5-on-5, the Florida Panthers are very good. The problem with the Panthers is their depth. The strength of Boston is their depth. But right now, Boston's missing their captain, Patrice Bergeron. He pushes the puck. He's a guy that they haven't had in the first 2 games. If he doesn't play, Boston is somewhat marginalized on the offensive end. We'll see. Tonight's game 3 is going to go a long way to determine how far this series is going to go. It could go 6 or 7, and that's scary for Bruins fans because all that wonderful stuff that happened before the playoffs start mean nothing today. So if the Bruins can't get back and win tonight, I'd be concerned for sure.
A Facebook Live question for you, JC, from as Coach Spurrier calls him, Lamont Thomas. His name is Lamar, but Coach Spurrier calls him Lamont.
I like Lamar. Yeah.
He wants to know, is that margarita mix, JC? It's very early if so.
Margarita. No, this would be a very, very, very healthy coconut antioxidant infusion, cocoa fusion. These are so healthy. And I learned this from the Zuka app on my phone. It's got a carrot. You should all pull it up. All you have to do is scan the barcode, and it'll give you all of the health information you need to make the right choice on your consumption. And by the way, did Zach Ertz get traded to the Arizona Cardinals? I said the Eagles. Who's the Eagles?
Yeah. He's got that Dallas Goddard, I think, is their title.
Yes, thank you.
But they have Devontae Smith, who played at your school that you can't even remember.
No, I said Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, but I said Zach Ertz, and that was an error. It's Dallas Goddard. My apologies, and thank you to our lovely listener Timmy in Denver for making that apparent to my dumb ass. But that's who it was, Dallas Goddard. Okay, they're the same guy. What's the difference between Zach Ertz and Dallas Goddard? Do you know?
They're very good players.
They're very good players. Yeah.
Some guy named Patrick on Facebook Live says JC is hydrating for a huge golf match today.
Oh gosh! After what happened to me yesterday, I'd better do more than hydrate. I need help Venmoing because my Venmo account is getting very low. So,
well, you know what you do there, JC?
Make putts.
You put more money in the Venmo.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to avoid.
That helps.
I'm trying to avoid that after all my golf picks go sideways with Brooks Koepka choking and everything else going on out here on the field of dreams that I play on, and missing putts and having ex-NFL players shoot 76 and beat the hell out of me. It's been a rough run.
You know what?
It's been a rough run for Johnny C.
You cannot blame your defensive coordinator on the golf course because you cannot play defense, brother. You can only blame your OC and yourself.
Yes.
So figure it out. Figure it out, JC.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead.
We got a text on the Titan MR text line from William. He says, I am curious why JC has all this Gator gear on today.
Hell yeah. Because of the way the golf team played on moving day. And then
we got to get you some golf gear then with the swinging Gator.
I'm waiting. JC Deacon, come on.
Well, they sell it now, JC. They actually sell it online.
Yeah. Well, let them win the SEC tournament, and if that happens, I'm all in. And then the baseball team, last night I'm trying to pull them through, and then everything collapses in the latter part of the game. So I'm trying to get them right tonight because I'm a big fan, and I think they're going to go far. But you can't get run ruled in the last 3 innings of a game because in the postseason, one game can change everything. And the loser bracket, playing out of the losers bracket in any kind of format is almost impossible to win. So. Yeah.
All right. We got another text here on the Titan. A ton of texts. I can't read them all.
Throw them at us.
This is from Larry. He says, I am curious if JC will be attending the Alabama spring game.
That would be a hard no. And again, if you find me at a spring game, call the ambulance because something's wrong. Okay. That's just not something I participate in. I don't want to participate in it. I'll read about it for about a minute and a half and then move on with my life and get ready for August. That's when I talk football. I mean, I talk football all year long, but that's when it matters. And QB, look, I mean, the Gators have a lot of people that are concerned. I think the time for concern maybe is a little bit later when we know more. We don't know enough yet.
That's true. And then Chris chimes in on the text line, Titan MR text line. JC sounds like a preacher begging for money for his Venmo account.
That's right. Yes. Hey, anybody, it's at John-Cornell-18, and I will send you a heart emoji if you send me a few bucks to support my efforts. And then maybe I'll even mention you on this worldwide podcast. So
worldwide.
No, I got to play better, man. I miss some putts. It's uncharacteristic. I mean, at some point the greens are fast, and then at some point the greens are slow. I wish this guy would just get consistent. But what I do love, though, is that we're under an El Nino. And that means it's all dry and there's high pressure and we don't have these afternoon thunderstorms yet. And so fortunately, we're able to get out here and play golf. And I don't care if the grass, just put the water on if the grass is getting brown. It's great not to have to battle thunderstorms right now. So there.
Well, I ordered a new putter yesterday.
Oh,
Custom
what?
built putter. So look out.
You actually spent money on golf equipment?
Yeah, well, I had to. I had to. It's been about 35 years. So wait
Yeah.
till I get new technology. Y'all let it look
Oh
out.
my God. Why don't you get a driver while you're at it?
Yeah,
You're
my
too,
driver goes just as far as
too
the $500
now
ones.
you would get another 20, 25 yards. You're too
No,
good.
I've tried. I've tried.
You're
Doesn't
wasting
work that way.
you're wasting
JC,
your
we
skills on bad.
okay. Well, go practice for your match today. We got to get out of here.
Okay. Well, we'll talk on Monday and welcome home.
All right, that's JC. Join us on the Titan MR Hotline. Celebration Points, where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Nike International Diamond Center, Dave and Buster's Bass Pro Shop, Regal Cinemas, Prime and Pro, the HBC's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We'll see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators go to celebrate. Going to take a quick timeout. Come back. Seth Harp takes over. Have a great weekend, folks.
All right.
See you on Monday.
Adios.
We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peaceland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise.
Campus USA Credit Union.
QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Dave and Buster's, eat, drink, play, and watch. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wibby, Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Aver and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Q Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hey dads and kids, join head coach Billy Napier at the Gainesville All-Pro Dad Experience, Saturday, April 22nd at 9 a.m. at the University of Florida Sanders Practice Facility and Fields. Learn fatherhood tips and participate in activities with your kids while rotating through stations on the field. It's only $25 per family, so register today at allprodad.com/events. The Gainesville All-Pro Dad Experience is brought to you by the Florida Department of Education, Dairy Council of Florida, and Tyson.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
All righty, happy Friday to you as we wrap up this bad boy. Another week edition of Pot Up with Matthews in the morning. Seth Harp in for the second half of the show today, taking you into the weekend. Of course, you've heard Shane back on a full-time basis after his gauntlet in the XFL. All right. Of course, me, Seth Harp, courtesy of the Titan MRI hotline here on Pot Up with Matthews in the morning. Got a question for me? Fire away via Meldon Law, the only official legal law firm partner of the Florida Gators. So, got things for me? Fire away. A couple things I'm going to dive into here. Of course, we had the big story yesterday about the A's moving into Vegas. Looks like that's pretty much a done deal now. And targeting 2027. We know that the Rays have, 18 more months, 24 months to figure out what they are going to do. Baseball's made some big changes, haven't they, over the course of the last few months? And there are a couple more big ones they can make. I love the fact that baseball's moving and shaking like the NFL predominantly does every single offseason. Baseball, trying to grow. I love it. So we're going to look at that. I want to start off with Gator baseball first, though. And, look, They got railroaded last night, didn't they? They got lit up. They got drilled. And is it concerning? Well, here's why. A little bit different. With Neely out this whole series, you had a situation last night where Gator pitchers walked 9 more batters. Of those 9 batters that Gators pitchers walked, 6 of them scored. So, we were talking over the course of the last few months how many guys this staff walks. Their ERAs are up around 4.5. Gator starting pitchers went into last night at 15-3. Their ERAs as starting pitchers were up in the high 4s. That's how to have a staff where you, as a starting pitching staff, your big 3 are 15-3, and your ERA of those 3 guys is bordering 5. That tells me you're out slugging teams. There comes a time in any season, no matter where it is, that you are going to have some guys on the mound that outpitch guys. These guys are definitely capable of it. I'm going to get to that in a second. But what happened last night? You got yourself into a slugfest with a team that had some bigger bats. South Carolina can hit. South Carolina is the best hitting team that Florida has played all year, and it showed last night. They're going to make you pay if you start walking their guys, and they made Florida pay. Made them pay in a big way. So now you're 10 run. Okay, now what? This weekend now, all of a sudden with South Carolina's propensity to swing the sticks, all of a sudden what this brings into the equation is this. It brings that the SEC East can slip through your fingers this weekend. That's what's at stake now. Because now Florida's 3 games behind Vanderbilt in the loss column. You go out, you get your butt swept this weekend, and all of a sudden, instead of 3 games out in the loss column, you're 5 games out in the loss column with 12 games to go. 9 games would be 12 games to go, right? You behind Vandy, 5 games in the loss column with 12 to go. Goodbye. You're not going to win the East. No way. You put yourself in that position. Sweeps or death if you want to win this division. So, the Gators have some good things going for them. Waldrop. This is what's amazing about this. Florida's playing their 6th SEC series of the year, right? 6th SEC series. Waldrop is 5-0 in game 2s. In the SEC, when Waldrop is on the hill, Florida is 5-0 in game 2s. His loss was to Miami, right? Think about that. That's pretty impressive. So Florida's now lost the first game of SEC Series 3 out of 6 series. Waldrop has come back and won game 2 every time. So he, and I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago on the podcast, that he is the Andy Pettit of this staff, because the New York Yankees in the 90s, when they were winning those World Series, they lost game 1 of series, I think 6 or 7 times. And Andy Pettit came out in game 2s. They won every single one. He may not have been the winning pitcher, but they won every single one that he pitched in. So that's where this series is headed now. That's where this series is headed. And again, you got outslugged in Columbia. Deep breath, bounce back, but without having, without Neely in there, and the rumors surrounding if he's injured or not too, here we go. You've relied on Waldrop all year long to be that guy that, for lack of a better term, stops the bleeding. Okay, we got bloodied up here. We got to bounce back. He's been the bounce back guy. We'll see what happens. But the SEC East tonight is one of these things now with this series and Caglione and where you are going into Saturday, and South Carolina now in sole possession of second place in the SEC East. It's a good baseball team, and smell a little blood. All right, again, Seth Harp on Sports in Pot Up with Matthews in the morning. There's some Gator baseball for you heading into the weekend. Quick reminder that Pot Up with Matthews in the morning is a service of QC Kinetics. If you have joint pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back that just is bugging you and it will not go away, check out QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief. No surgery, drugs, or downtime. Schedule your free consultation today. QC Kinetics, locations in Ocala and Gainesville. Give them a ring. 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550. Okay. I was thinking about this with, Max Scherzer gets suspended 10 games. Baseball isn't. I love the rule changes that baseball has made this year. I've been no secret about it. I'm a baseball purist. My old man was a baseball coach for 40 years. I'm a purist in the sense that it is my favorite sport. It's what I played growing up. It's what I played into adulthood. And, I played football, wasn't any good at it, but I was too short to play basketball. That's not true. I wasn't too short. I couldn't dribble to save my life. And yes, and turnover crowed. But nonetheless, baseball's always been it's been in my heart. And, everybody's always worried about, the game being ruined and the game being changed. And you can alter things. You need to change the way you do things. And baseball's done this over the course of the last few months, whether it's the pitching clock, whether it's staying in the batter's box, whether it's, your ability to run the bases and speeding that up as well. Look, they made changes a couple years ago where you can't bring one guy in for one hitter and then bring another guy in for another. And they talked about the other 3 rule changes. What are they talking about? Permanent pinch runners that can constantly pinch run. I don't know if I so much like that one. I do like the one that if your starting pitcher gets yanked before the 5th inning, then you lose the DH. I like that one, actually. Only throwing over once per pickoff move or for batter on base. I don't know about that. So all these rule changes and small rule changes are over here, and baseball's exploring some other things. Runner on second base, extra innings. And one thing that I do think is interesting is this, though. And, it's been mentioned that Robert Manfred wants to expand baseball from 30 to 32 teams. Baseball wants to go from 30 to 32. Major League Baseball does. And we know the A's are now destined for Vegas. And the Rays are one of these organizations that sits here, and this is the next big one. The Rays are for the longest time, each sport has had this, and college football does this too. When the A's moved the other day, everybody gets this sense and this feeling that it's like, oh man, I hate to see this. This is awful. I hate to see this, man. This is happening too much. It's like, it's happening less today than it's ever happened. Teams moving. Now, college football teams move from conference to conference more in a higher clip, in a bigger clip. But movement from professional sports is happening at a lower rate now than it's ever happened. When's the last time we had a baseball team move before the A's? Was it Nationals? Yeah, we've had a couple NFL teams move. But NFL teams were moving all the time in the 70s and 80s. They were moving constantly. The NBA was moving constantly in the 70s and 80s. Right? You had the Royals. So you had the Kings. They moved from Kansas City to Sacramento in the NBA. You had, in a little stretch there in the 2000s, you had the Hornets that moved, and then Charlotte got an expansion team. So you had some movement there. But the St. Louis Cardinals in the NFL became the Arizona Cardinals. You had this constant movement. The NFL had the Browns that went to Baltimore. You had movement. But now we had a couple teams go to LA, and Oakland moved as the NFL was playing this game of chess, using the city of LA as a destination to scare teams to build new stadiums. The NFL got stadiums built in Indianapolis. They got stadium built in Detroit. They got stadium built in Minneapolis. And the list goes on. And how they did that was by threatening to move you to LA. They can move to LA, better build a new stadium. And then when that game of musical chairs ended, there was not really any more threats. So it's like, all right, St. Louis, let's go. The Chargers wanted a little of that action too, and they got it. So where I'm going with this is baseball has only got one team left. They really need to move around here a little bit. The NFL, is there anybody that needs to move around anymore? The NFL, the one that everybody points to is Jacksonville and the Jaguars. But from what I'm told, the Jaguars are going to unveil a $600 to $800 million stadium renovation plan coming up here this spring that's going to be almost identical to what the Dolphins did in Miami. About 7-8 years ago that started? Well, the minute that's done, then there's no real other game of musical chairs for the NFL. So then expansion kicks in, and that's where I'm going with baseball. Baseball's expansion now, at least the thing is that baseball wants to go from 30 to 32. Sweet. It's great. And, if the Rays, for the purpose of this, I hope they stay. I do. I hope they stay in Tampa. I do. Now, however they figure this out in St. Pete or Ybor, and look, two towns or two cities that are tied up together like that. That it works in the Twin Cities in Minneapolis. That you can do it in certain areas. People still find their ways to Rangers games with Dallas and Fort Worth. I know a little bit different separation, a lot more people, but they find a way to get it done. So as I was looking at this, I thought to myself, okay, if baseball does go from 30 to 32, where should they go? Where should they go? If the Rays stay, where should they go? So all of a sudden, you have teams that light up. Salt Lake City saw this last week, so Salt Lake City threw a dagger. And we want one. We want one. And should they have one? Yeah, they can make this work. They actually can. In terms of seating and in their attendance for their minor leagues and what they're able to draw there, in terms of capacity year after year after year, they can support it. They can. So Salt Lake City is one. The other one, Charlotte, Nashville, are the big three that are going to become involved with this. And I was thinking, okay, that gets you to 33, right? That gets you to 33. I would love to see baseball expand even beyond that. I would. I'd like to see baseball do some big expansion here. If you're going to change the game in this way, and here's the thing: it's like, oh, you can't expand, you can't add any more teams. Look what it's done to pitching. Look what it's done to pitching. You mean pitching, where the whole point of the game now is to go 4 innings with your starters and bullpen. Come on. You could sell me on that when we were going through Tommy John surgery left and right, but since baseball has altered its structure, you can go 36 teams. You bet you can. 36? Yeah. You can go 36? Of course you could. Football in the NFL is talking about a European division. Football is going to have a European division. Football's at 32. Football is going to be at 36. The NFL is going to be at 30. They're going to have plans for 36 teams within 5 years. And they're talking about a sole division over in Europe where, well, nobody will like that. Nobody will know. Yeah, you don't. Yeah. Think about this logic for a second. These franchises are now worth what Washington just sell for $6 billion. So the NFL can create 4 new franchises over in Europe, probably totaling value around $20 billion, or they can't. Everybody says, oh, you can't build these things. It'll be bad for the sport. Everything that the NFL does makes them more money. How's it going to be bad? Same thing here with baseball. And they go to 32. Who will get them? I don't know. I'd like to see the NFL. I'm okay with the NFL division in Europe. You bet I am. And just like baseball, I'll tell you where I'd love to see a Major League Baseball team. I'd love to see a Major League Baseball team in Havana. I would love to see a Major League Baseball team in Cuba. That'd be awesome. Nobody wants to go to Marlins games at all. It's like a morgue. We talk about baseball in Florida. You want to the quickest way to ratchet up some interest is a little animosity. It just ratchet up a little animosity. Come on, you think about this. Baseball sitting at 32 right now. I'd love to see 6 divisions of 6. And that's where we go with the NFL, right? If we get to 36, you could be talking about 6 division of 6. The cities that we could have expansion Major League Baseball teams in: Salt Lake City, Portland, Charlotte, Nashville. There's 4. Where else we going? I get to 5 first, right? Havana. And Havana is going to be one of those that people are going to like. And San Antonio. The 6 places baseball should expand: San Antonio, Nashville, Portland, Oregon, Charlotte, Salt Lake City, Havana, Cuba. And the NFL, 4 teams in Europe, you bet. And for the people that I don't want any more teams. Why not? More people get to enjoy sports. It's the one product that people are still consuming. Entertainment products. People are still consuming at a high rate. I don't want to say it's recession proof. Now, your viewing habits have changed. They've changed. But I always thought bringing your product to more people would make sense. It does. Joe writes in via Facebook Live, Belton Law. the names for potential NFL expansion teams are terrible. You know what? It's funny you say that because I even I saw some of the names for the potential baseball teams, and yeah, they're pretty bad too. What was it? Was it Charlotte or the Nashville Stars? It's like, oh, come on. You know, and you got to avoid that fine. Joe's right. I love that thing, Joe, because you're right. You got to avoid that fine line between being gimmicky and not being gimmicky. When it comes to it, you want it to be pretty cool. And based on cities, you know, now you have the Guardians, and Cleveland has a little history with that, so it makes sense. But almost any new name is going to be under scrutiny. But you're right. Hey, look, baby, I get it. I get it. I do. I understand some of the nicknames are kind of wonky. I always thought that what Washington should have done is should have kept the logo, the Native American logo, and just changed their name from the Washington, formerly, you know what, Skins, to, can I say that? I guess I can. I mean, they should have changed their name to the Washington Americans. That's what they should have done. Native Americans, they should have just kept the old logo and became the Washington Americans. Oh, that would have been cool. Greg writing in, how many pesos a ticket would they have to charge to be profitable? Oh, down in Havana? Oh, boy, they pack. You ever watch a baseball game in Cuba? I mean, man, no problem there, baby. They made. Now the thing is, you know, relations and how mad everybody is with each other, and profit sharing, and still a little socialism in there a little bit, you know, communistic centric. But we partner with other countries for other sports, right? Partner with Canada. What do we have? 7 teams, 8 teams in the NHL from Canada. We have teams in the NBA from Canada. Hockey, NBA, Major League Baseball. We have a team from Canada, so we partner with other countries. Dan writes in, he's like, the Nashville Hot Chickens, the Charlotte Racers, the Portland Timbers. I saw the Charlotte Racers and the Portland Timbers. I saw that. Don't they have a, I thought Seattle's hockey team is that. Yeah, but no, I saw Charlotte Racers because they're racing. Long way to go. I saw when they're talking about Indianapolis getting a major league team too, but that'll never happen because how close they are to St. Louis and Cincinnati. That was going to be that was also going to be a structural thing with with the Indianapolis Racers because of the speedway and everything that goes into that. But no, again, I'm all for expansion. I'm all for these things as long as it's done right. And now, look, I talk about baseball going to 36. You know, football going to 36. Going, you know, hockey is one of these that you can find warm weather cities or southern cities where it can be successful. Dallas, extremely successful. Tampa, extremely successful. Nashville hockey, extremely successful for a fan base. So moving into the South does work in certain instances, right? Think about Raleigh-Durham, right? Carolina Hurricanes, extremely successful. Atlanta, not successful. So it's about finding the right market to make this work. Greg writes in, well, you know, Cuba's a poor country. Yeah. Mexico City's a poor country too. Or Mexico, well, I say the poor country. Mexico has its issues. And look, Greg, I think that the primary concern with Cuba getting a Major League Baseball team wouldn't be, it'd be the government, not the socioeconomic status. And look, if you are, again, I'm getting way ahead of myself. If you're Jack Caglione and you're the number 1 pick in the drafting, you know, the Havana, what is it? Sugar Kings was the projected name. If Havana would have a Major League Baseball team and you're Jack Caglione and you're the number 1 pick, you want to go play in Cuba? That would be your problem. See, there's where your issue would be. It's kind of like the same issues that we talk about with Europe having a league. If you are, let's use this year's draft for an example. If there's an expansion draft and you have 4 new teams over in Europe, well, those teams are picking 1, 2, 3, 4, which means those teams are going quarterback. More than likely, you want a part of that action, boss? You're Bryce Young, you're CJ Stroud, you want to start? And there's going to be the mental, and that's why they're playing games over there over a 15, 20-year basis. They're opening up the door for the potential. But again, it's just one of these things that, well, when I saw it pop up and when the Salt Lake City thing and the fact that this A's to Vegas check mark take place, baseball wants to expand. Baseball's going to expand. Within 5 years, the NFL is going to add 4 teams to Europe. They're going to do it. So whether you like it or not, it's going to happen. And Major League Baseball is going to add 2 teams. They're going to go from 30 to 32 once they get this race thing done. And the race thing is going to be done in the next 18 months. I know everybody in Montreal. It didn't work in Montreal, and baseball's scared to death of, I think I told you guys this yesterday, an Expos Blue Jays World Series. It scares them to death. Hockey, you can get away with it. You can kind of get away with it. You know, you can get away with it. But baseball is predominantly played in the United States. It's one of these things that I can tell you that's one of those fears of the people in the front office of Major League Baseball. All right. Pot Up with Matthews in the morning is a service of Bruce Orga, State Farm Insurance. It's a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help your life go in the right direction with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ograinsurance.com. Give them a call today, 352-240-1779. That's 352-240-1779. So there you go. Give you a little Gator baseball, give you a little the expansion, talk about where those cities are going to be, and also the NFL as they kind of dabble here with Europe a little bit. And, you know, that was something that they kind of threw out there about 2 months ago, about 6 weeks ago, about having a European division, and these things are happening. The only sport that, you know, the NBA, I mean, we've seen hockey expand. They've gone to Vegas and they've gone to Seattle. The NBA really hasn't done it. And if the NBA does do it, it'd be Seattle and Vegas. Those would be the places where they would go. Constant movement. But this stuff happens all the time. I know that there was this big swell yesterday. It's like, I hate to see it for Oakland. Well, they were the Philadelphia A's, and then they were the Kansas City A's, and then they were the Oakland A's. It's not exactly like this organization over its history. It's not like this isn't the Green Bay Packers, gang. This team moves a lot. Okay. This team isn't exactly the New York Yankees. This team isn't exactly the Boston Red Sox, right? The A's have been moving again well, I don't know any of our lifetimes or your lifetime. I mean, you have to be, if you're listening, you're in your 70s, right? You in your lifetime, it's been what? It's been yes, it's moved around. It's been Philadelphia, it's been Kansas City, and it's been Oakland. So yeah, if you're in your 70s, you probably get to that, right? All right, here we go as we move along here. Pot Up with Matthews in the morning. A couple other things that, you know, we're tying up. We talked about Anthony Richardson and where I think he is the best fit, where we're going to be the best fit. We went through the SEC quarterbacks the other day with this, and Anthony Richardson, I think the best things for Anthony would be either Tennessee or it would be Baltimore, based on a couple of things. And those things are stable, strong coaching staffs and organizations. Mike Vrabel, strong, stable coaching staff and organization. John Harbaugh, Ravens, strong, stable coaching staff and organizations. Do not want to see Anthony go to Indianapolis. Indianapolis, my own place. That's where I grew up. I grew up in Indy. No, that organization's bad. And Peyton Manning covered so many zits and scars. And that's when Bill Polian was there. He's not there anymore. They ruined Andrew Luck. No, you don't want to. Anthony Richardson does not want to end up in Indy. Houston is another organization that's no. Oh, gosh. Carolina, new ownership. I don't know exactly what we're going to see with them, but I want him to go to a stable organization. Give him a fighting chance. Maybe where he doesn't have to play right away. Maybe where he can watch a little bit with Tannehill, but strong organizations where he can grow. I don't want, not right into the fire, not right away. More Patrick Mahomes with Anthony Richardson where you watch a little. And look, he can play week 5 if he wants. I'm not going to say he needs to sit the whole year, but I want to see him in a strong organization that's stable. Well, I was thinking about this with Cyrus Torrence. Although Cyrus Torrence, he is slated anywhere from 18 to the end of the first round. He's going to be a first round pick. Well, who's down there would be a good fit for him? Now, the good thing for Cyrus is more than likely he's going to get drafted by a team that went to the postseason this year. More than likely, that's where Osiris is going to end up. Gator's going to have 2 guys go in the first round. And you start to look at, okay, well, who made the postseason that's going to be interested in an offensive lineman down there? Jaguars going to be interested in an offensive lineman. The Bengals, maybe the Bengals. I know they did a lot of work rebuilding that offensive line. The Bills, not going to be there's not going to be. They need to have some more weapons. They need to build some more stuff around Josh Allen. The Chiefs, there would be the pick, but the Chiefs are picking 31st. I got news for you. If Osiris Torrance is there at 31, Andy Reid, he'll be a Chief. He's going to be a Chief if he's there at 31, but he's not going to be there at 31. So then you start to look at other teams that are playoff teams from a year ago. And other organizations that, quote unquote, get it, like the Pittsburgh Steelers that are picking around, they're late teens. You got a young quarterback in Kenny Pickett. Do you want to surround him with talent? So, the one thing, Osiris Torrance compared to at least Anthony Richardson at this point is just the way the draft slotting is. Osiris Torrance is probably going to end up on a playoff team. And then, of course, go to the NFC. The Eagles' offensive line's pretty loaded. It's pretty solid. I don't know what you're going to get when it comes to teams like the Vikings. What are the Vikings going to do when they're down there? But he's going to end up in a pretty good slot. He's going to end up in a pretty good position. So again, I'm not really worried about Osiris as much. An offensive line's a little bit different than quarterback. You can be a good offensive lineman and be in a bad organization and still be successful. Look at Joe Thomas with all those years with the Browns. I don't think did he play in one postseason? No, he never got to play in one postseason game as a Hall of Famer. Quarterbacks, you get ruined. You just get ruined. So as we wrap this up, and this is going to be my last show with you guys with Shane coming back, and I know I'll pop on every now and then, but this is going to be the last time I talk to you before the draft. I just wanted to see the best positions and best slots for those guys. And again, I had Anthony Richardson, the best places for him. Now, there's not necessarily where he's going to go, but I think the best places for Anthony Richardson, whatever the Baltimore Ravens decide to do, but the Ravens and the Titans. I think the Titans are the best place for him. And, we talk about the Lions. The Lions have kind of figured it out here a little bit. They have. But they've got all that money invested in Jared Goff, and or the Lions have kind of figured it out here a little bit. Maybe them as well. And Cyrus Torrance, if I had to pick, you look at those teams down there that made the postseason, that made deep runs. Dallas, but Dallas needs weapons too. So if I had to guess, I would say, again, just based on who made the playoffs last year and where they are, the Lions have multiple first-round picks. Seattle has multiple first-round picks. I would expect there's where I'd start to think that Osiris will go off the board. But he's going to be in good position just because of where all the quarterbacks rushing, or the rush that's going to be on the quarterbacks, where everybody else is going to find themselves. So there's where we go. And that's what you'll see. All right, going to have a busy weekend on ESPN Gainesville. Of course, Gator baseball tonight, Gator baseball tomorrow, softball going to swing around because softball's got a Saturday, Sunday, Monday series. So you're going to catch softball on Sunday and Monday, and we're going to be able to squeeze a Lightning Stanley Cup game in there. I think it's Saturday night that we're going to be able to get that thing in, as it's tomorrow night, isn't it? Yeah, as their series with the Leafs is knotted up at a game apiece. So it's going to be a busy weekend. And looking ahead to next weekend, gang, I know we got a softball game on Monday. We got a baseball game on Tuesday. I got a softball game on Thursday. We got the entire NFL draft on Thursday. And then we circle back around to another weekend series of baseball and softball. So I was looking at the schedule today as I was putting together. We got ridiculous, I don't even know what it is, 10 Gator sporting events, 10 games in the next 11 days. So softball and baseball. So keep it locked in, and you'll get all your action. Thanks to Jared and everybody at Weeby Marketing for the last few weeks. I think 8 weeks now I've been joining this. And thanks to Shane. I can't thank Shane enough. I really can't. I got a couple minutes here. I know I'm up against it here, and my apologies, but I can't thank Freddie Weeby enough for the time and the ability to do this. I always try to tell people, and I appreciate you guys too. Look, I know I'm different. I was in Jacksonville for 5 years. I was in Savannah for 4 years before that. I'm 43 now. I've been doing this since I was 15. I've hosted over 11,000 hours of sports radio shows. And I always try to tell people, I'm new to you. I'm not new to this. And I've always said this, all right? I talk about the things that you like. I find out what you like. You're big SEC, big Gator sports, big baseball people. What you like. I find the things that you like and I talk about them. Now, I'm not going to never pander and cater to you, but I talk about the things that you like. I tell you what I feel about the things that you like. I'll never tell you how you should feel. I tell you how I should feel. And I hope you've enjoyed it, because the one thing that I think is failing in sports media, at least, or in broadcasting, is you can't tell when somebody's telling you the truth, or somebody is lying to you, or somebody's fake, or somebody's phony. And I said, there's a lot of words that you can call me of the 4-letter variety, and that's fine. And I've seen a couple over on Facebook Live, but I've never seen liar, dishonest, untruthful, unfair. So I got to take that as a win. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate the time. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy Gator sports. Enjoy ESPN Gainesville. Enjoy the weather. And I know we'll talk again soon. Thank you very much. This has been Seth Harp in for Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning.